LA Police Helicopter 8 to Culver City on Claymars.
491 is code 65100 block West 11th Place, requesting an additional unit and 15 gang members.
2303 Long Beach, few possible gang members with knives fighting with the PR's husband, incident 4960.
Off at Nordoff, let me know if he changes his direction. I'll be there in about 2 minutes.
Armed robberies.
Tell me what happened. Can you? Yeah?
I just remember it jumped on.
Few of the street gangs are white. They're mostly black or Chicano, the local term for Mexican Americans whose numbers have been swollen by refugees from the wars of Central America.
Well, all you guys grab the top of my car, would you please? Woody, grab the car. Now, why is everybody out tonight? Just kicking it, huh?
The Chicano gangs first staked their claim to territory in the eastern suburbs. Now their empire spreads throughout the city.
They didn't have nothing on them, but they were laying.
The gangs patrol their domain by night. So does the sheriff, to check if this is just a group of kids kicking around or a gang going armed for violence and vendetta.
You know you ain't allowed to...
I was right here, man.
Okay, you know you're not allowed to carry this stuff on you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, not at all. Looked like you found something.
Yeah,
not yours, right?
Mine. I ain't trying to tell somebody else.
Look here, if you guys are over here righteously and you got this kind of crap on you or something, you know you're going to jail, right?
The Chicano gangs are basically, the older gangs are deep-rooted. They're very territorially minded. They believe that they are warriors protecting that particular neighborhood from an outside gang coming into that gang. They consider themselves actual soldiers, where black gangs, they consider themselves gangsters.
There are over 100 black street gangs. They live south of the city in places like Compton, Linwood and Watts, which blazed in the long hot summers of the 60s. According to the sheriff, the Santana block has the worst reputation for violence, although these days their numbers are down. 14 of them have been killed in the gangland wars.
Wiping off the vehicle. Tanner. We just like a family. The Tanner gang is just like a family.
A veteran of many wars, Angelo Daniels.
I was over there on Willow Street, me and the homeboys, Turtle, and Rabbit, all of us was kicking over there on Willow Street over there by Fat Daddy house. And, let me see, we was fixing on the ride, and...
About 20 guys outside.
Yeah, about 20 of us outside. Blues came from behind the house.
Shooting.
And they
two twins
got, and they got me and my brother, you know, twins at the same time, you know what I'm saying? They got me in the back and my brother in the nose. I rolled over on them, caught them over there by the tracks. I shot at them, and as I was rolling back towards the hood, police swooped on me, and somebody up in working on the telephone pole seen us walk through the gun, and they snagged me with the gun, took me to jail. Captain Crab. And tell him blah. What
do they charge you with?
Huh?
What do they charge you with?
45 assault.
That's it.
What's 245?
Assault with a deadly weapon.
And did you get convicted or did you get off?
Dismissed it.
Why was it dismissed?
Not enough evidence.
No evidence from the charge me with. No witnesses. They didn't want to come and testify that I shot at them.
Why don't witnesses testify in court?
Why do? That's right, because they're scared of the tanner. What's your lip?
Why should they be scared?
Huh?
Why should they be scared?
So we mean as a rattlesnake.
We averaged about 3 robberies a day. Gang members commit 2 homicides a month and 2 felonious assaults a day. Most of the gang guys, for obvious reasons, can't buy guns. They have records. In the United States anyway, you can't buy a gun if you have any type of felony record, which most of them have. So the guns are acquired through residential burglaries, actual going into the neighborhoods that surround the gang area, breaking in and taking jewelry and money. Specifically, they want guns. And once they have those guns, that's the ones they use in their crimes and for backing up their neighborhood, as they say. This is the old type zip gun, and the gang guys have kind of graduated from that 10 or 15 years ago to the new type of zip gun, if I can demonstrate this for you. This type of gun is manufactured, and it's for various types of caliber weapons. It's a single shot, obviously. One bullet can go into this part here, screwed together, firing pin located through the bottom hole here, and it's for up-close type of shooting, if you're in a crowd or something of this type. This actually pulls back, and just the tension, releasing the tension on the 22 shell causes it to go off. The nice thing about this gun is you can unscrew the front of it, throw it away, and no officer would even suspect that as being a weapon.
In the 1970s, it had become obvious that traditional policing methods couldn't control the epidemic. So the city police, county sheriffs and the DA's office set up special gang units. Here in southern Los Angeles, Operation Safe Streets tries to identify the gang members and link them to their lethal cutlery.
You going to school?
Yeah.
What grade are you in?
The 12th.
Senior this year?
Yeah.
Dominguez?
Yeah.
What time do you get out?
About 2:40.
How come you're out now?
I didn't go to school today.
Proving membership is difficult. Gangs and their members assume cryptic nicknames. A card index of known gangs, their members and associates helps to work out who you're dealing with when you're dealing with Snoopy at the Limehood Pyroos.
What's it say on the back of your wallet?
Snoopy.
What else does it say there?
LHP.
What's that stand for?
It's Limehood.
Limehood what?
Pyroos.
You belong Limehood Pyroos?
Not really.
What do you have it on?
That was on my wallet. But
you are Snoopy, right?
Yeah.
But what has led Snoopy and 40,000 other youngsters in this city of wealth to join street gangs?
Gang members join for various reasons. If you go to the old East LA gang, they join just because that's the way it's always been. They don't know why. They just that's the way it's always been. Other gangs you go to, they go because they're poor and they have a tendency to gravitate together, and they join because of that reason. Other areas for protection. from the other gangs. They'll join because of protection. The other gangs just join because it's fun. They have a good time.
A lot of information we gain for our unit is strictly taken off the walls in the street. It all means something to us. These are two gangs that are warring with each other. The CVL 36, that's the Largo gang. They put an X through the arrival gang, which is C13, Compadres C13. If you notice that they have kind of a cloud around this particular individual's name. This is Mr. Steve. I don't know if you can read it or not. It's S-T-E-V-E. This young man's been killed. This determines the membership inside the gang. Like this is Hector, Eddie, Rookie, and Compton Barrio Tortilla Flats. This is another gang here. We keep track of all the guys that write their names on the wall to determine how big the gang is, what their influence is within a particular neighborhood.
Teenagers in many cities scrawl on city walls and work out their aggression on the nighttime streets. But here, the bravado is backed up by deadly weapons.
Two barrels. Look at the barrel. Look at the barrel. This is a madman's gun. A double barrel.
Yeah, that's in too.
A madman's gun. A man that go kill with this is really mad. It will kill. This
you better watch out.
Is a M1 carbine, 32 rounds. I can go tear up Lewis Park with this. I can kill about 32 people if I hit them all.
Yes, indeed.
This is the same thing. I own 2 of these.
This exhibition may be alarming, but for thousands of young people in Los Angeles, weapons are now part of everyday life and death.
9mm.
Tell them what's a tray 8. Make them 8.
38 revolver. It really hurts. I had 6 of them in me. It hurts real bad.
Real bad.
That's why right now I issue it out.
My Lord.
It's receiving. I ships it.
Why do you need the weapons?
Because guys don't fight anymore.
They don't use the
We
fist.
used to fight,
we use the,
but they don't do that anymore.
Guns.
All about shooting, taking them out.
Taking them off the game.
And if you ever had to use them,
a lot of times,
many.
But when another gang came,
when they come to the home front, that's when we use them.
Yes.
And when they come shoot us, we go back and shoot them.
Hey, look, hey, man, cut to the bruises.
Battle scars.
Battle scars, man. Shot, I got stabbed, shot, and all that other.
The black gangs divide into 2 warring clans, the Crips and the Bloods or Pirus. The leader of the Santana Block Crips is 24, a drug peddler. He's been a gang member since he was 14. Kenneth Johnson, known as Turtle.
How I started, I had just moved to California. And I was going to Roosevelt Junior High School. And a lot of bloods used to come up to the school and run them everybody home. You know, and I used to wonder, you know, what's happening? What they running everybody home for? Well, it's skating ring, partner. So, you know, I used to wonder what they running for. What's Crip? What's Piru? So I go home. My buddies used to, you know, ask me what I'm doing coming from that way. You a Piru? I say, no, man. And I get stopped on the other side of the street. They ask me if I'm a Crip. And I say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was in the, you know, in the blind. I didn't know what was what. Till a couple of guys told me, you know, Piru's over there, you know, Crips over here, you know. So I say, is that right? What's that? They say a gang, a street gang. You know, so me and my little brother, we didn't know, you know, we didn't know nothing. You know, we knew. So after a while, you know, we got to going along, you know, getting used to it. You know, so we started being in the street gang too. Crips. Crip. You know, I started knowing what the Crip was.
How does a guy get respect within the gang?
Well, it's like this. When I didn't have no big brothers, and you know, like I used to have a fight in school, and I used to have to run home because they go get big brother on me. So I start saying, you know, I can't be running home. You know, because I get ran home, my mama make me fight. Because if I lose that fight, that means she gonna whoop my ass. So I had to win. That way, I wouldn't get two ass whoopings. Because if I get beat up, my mama gonna whoop my ass for losing the fight. So I start, you know, acting crazy, you know. Yeah, I'm in here, baby. Something like it's hot, baby. Yeah. There you go, watch it. Here it is. 9 red.
Black street gangs identify themselves by the colors they wear. The Pyrus wear red, the Crips wear blue. Blue jackets, blue trousers, blue laces in their shoes. Within both Crips and Pyrus, there are many smaller gangs like the Santana Block. Sometimes on a Sunday night, the Crips come together to claim the local skating rink as their patch.
How many gangs here tonight?
About 10.
Are they all friendly to your gang?
Yeah, I know them all, man. They real cool with us.
Oh, you got the old kids?
Great Street, yeah. I don't. Where buddy right here from?
Oh, that's Pocket, Quarter Pocket Crib. Quarter Pocket Crib.
North side must be the old gang.
The phenomenon of the black gangs dates back to the mid-70s. The promise of better housing after the riots of the 60s was never kept. The idealism of black community politics turned sour. For many of the young, black pride became black defiance.
The shooting started about, 76 on Melbourne. In 76. You know, they stopped fighting. They just started shooting. You know, and it was something new to me. You know, we used to fight all the time. The next minute, I'm running from gunshots. So the only thing I said to myself, say, man, are we going to start doing what they doing? You know, same thing they do to us, we do to them. That wasn't me, but you had to, you know, either do or die or stay in the house. You know, fight or stay in the house. So I wasn't going to stay in the house for nobody.
How many guys are in the joint right now?
About 20, they're close to 20 to 30 of them.
And what are they there for?
Murders, robberies, kidnapping. Well, ain't too many kidnappings. Murder, robberies, gang violence. You know, mostly all that. You know.
And who's this gang violence against?
The Bloods and other gang members. You know.
If you're asking specifically about that gang, they are a very violent, very active gang in Los Angeles County. They've had a number of incidents involving homicides, shooting on a regular basis. So gun warfare is not uncommon to that gang at all.
Gonna shoot some Q102s? Put your hands down. Turn around. Who's got some ID? Eastside Santana. What they call you, man?
Call me Reg.
Reg?
Yeah.
You OG Reg?
Yeah, original.
Original gangster, huh?
Right, that's gang.
All right.
Most gangs don't have a particular leader, but they have a group of guys who are considered more or less their leadership. The fellow that you just mentioned is a very active gang member. He lives and eats gang banging. He's been arrested over 20 times since he's been an adult, and I think that's only been the last 2 or 3 years, and has an equal record prior when he's a juvenile.
I don't call myself a leader. I don't like nobody saying I got boys, because I don't like that. You know, but somebody have to do the thinking, you know. And I'm the only one around, don't get high, don't smoke dope or nothing, so I figure I can do the thinking.
Light. Somebody in there ready to drive now? Friend still here?
Yeah.
All right.
East Los Angeles is home for many of the city's 4 million Mexican-American residents. This is Ramona Gardens, a low-income federal housing project close to the city center. Over the last 10 years, a new wave of immigrants from Mexico, Central and Southern America has arrived. The gang is an integral part of the Chicano community. The same word, barrio, serves both for neighborhood and gang. The gang that rules Ramona Gardens is called Azad Grande, the Big Hazard, and it paints its battle honors on the barrio walls.
This car is a mafia staff car, official staff car.
Dennis Trejo has lived in Ramona Gardens all his life. He's defined by the police as hardcore, not a hanger-on, but a member of the gang's high command.
I was almost a career criminal, and they sent me to prison for burglary for 2.5 years in Soledad prison. I got out of prison, and I'm out on parole now for 3 years. If I stay clean for 1 year, they'll discharge me off parole. And I grew up with a prior group, people I hang around with. When I went to jail, I started getting all these tattoos. Tattoos right here, one is on my back, stomach, Sureño, one on my back. Can I see the back?
Yeah, sure.
See the back.
How do you join a gang?
You would have to get initiated in.
So what's the initiation?
Of getting physically beaten up. You would have to go fight with somebody else, with two persons, to prove that you have enough strength to back yourself up in case somebody else would get into a fight with somebody, you would back them up, you would back up.
And that happened to you?
Yeah, it happened to me.
Every Sunday, while the pious are at Mass, the older members of the gang, the veteranos, meet in the local park. Ramona Gardens is the center for one of the largest drug networks in the city. PCP, or angel dust, a powerful hallucinogenic drug, is manufactured and marketed in the area. According to the police, the veteranos organize and protect the local narcotics industry. The Big Hazard has over 1,000 members spread across the city.
Who can come into the hazard area and who can't?
Different barrios can't come into our neighborhood. Barrios
that we don't get along can't come in. Because if they come in, then we're going to get down. You know what I mean?
They have a sense for danger.
People who disrespect us can't come in. What we mean by getting down is fist fight. Fighting. Whatever it takes, you know what I mean?
All right here, we're all family, and we respect each other, and we back each other up, Space, we respect anybody who respects us. If they don't respect us, then they better watch out,
Look at how beautiful Valerie over there. It looks nice. Your father's over here on this side.
The gangs have women members too, though while 1 in 10 of all young male Chicanos belongs to gangs, the figure for girls is far lower. The grave Pat Ramirez is tending belongs to her boyfriend, the father of her child. When she was just 3 months pregnant, John Mendoza wandered into rival territory and was murdered.
There was a gang fight between Largo and Watts. Two had one of John's friends, and about 5 or 6 of them had John. And when they were fighting, they stabbed him in that. And he ran, and they caught him again, and they hit him with the band. They shot him 2 times, and he fell again, and he tried to get up, and he couldn't get up no more. He was stabbed in his chest 70 times. Like a lot of his friends tell me, oh, Pat, we're going to get him for you. We're going to get him. And I tell him, what for? We ain't going to bring him back no more. He's dead already. There's nothing we can do no more. Can't bring him back.
Pat Ramirez now lives with her fatherless child, her parents, sister, 2 of her 5 brothers and their respective families in South Los Angeles. Ironically, the Ramirez family moved away from Ramona Gardens to escape the dangers of living in a gang neighborhood. But 4 of her brothers have been in jail for gang crimes, and they still associate with Big Hazard. It's not easy to leave the gang.
You can't just leave it, It's hard.
You know, you just can't get in the gang and just then you're gonna get in it and just walk away from it. You know, it's hard. There ain't no way you can get out. You're just gonna have to die in it, man. You were raised in the ghettos, and you will always become that member of that gang. You know. If you want to get out, that's up to them to decide whether they want you to get out or not. You know.
Do you worry about your children now?
Oh yeah. Because especially, you know, I see in the TV, I see, you know, my eyes in the street, a lot of guys die in the street, and I see a lot of guys shooting, fighting for nothing.
Pat's boyfriend, Johnny Mendoza, was a member of the Colonial Watts gang, where the community elders have set up a boxing club. It may not keep the youngsters off the streets, but at least once on them, it helps them to survive. 2 members of the neighboring Chicano gang, Largo, were jailed for the murder, but Johnny's gang believes 7 other Largo gang members were involved, so there are 7 scores to settle. That's how vendettas begin.
It hurts me, man.
It hurts everybody.
It hurts me. Everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. He was, you know, he was cool people with everybody. He was the famous guy we could find.
And I know the people because I see them at court, and I know them already, you know, and they told me what happened, and they said it wasn't them. They're thinking on their own friends, and everything's going wrong, man. But we know who they are already, man. But if we get them back, we don't want nobody to know about it.
We're gonna get them back. Payback's a bitch. We're gonna get them back. This is the beginning.
ENF, G&H release for trade. ENF, G&H release for trade. IJ, KNL release for trade. IJ, KNL.
Inevitably, many gang members spend time behind bars. It's almost an honor. It strengthens your standing in the gang to have done time, especially when you're taking the rap for a fellow gang member's crime. It's called a youth training school, but the correction center in Chino is a prison for over 1,000 17 to 24-year-old inmates, many of them gang members. Sam Kaysen is superintendent at Chino. He's had nearly 30 years' experience with California's youth services.
How you doing?
Just
Our vocational training programs here, our academic programs, our counseling, our recreational programs, our religious programs tend to try to convince gang members that this is not the right path to follow, that the right path to follow is to become a productive citizen, thereby earning your parole and returning to the community as a useful citizen and gaining employment. Our vocational training is probably the best in the nation right now for a correctional setting. We have 36 vocational classes that, in my opinion, are probably the best in any school.
The state spends millions of dollars on programs to make productive citizens. The hairdressing course is popular. Chicano youngsters care about the way they look. But training a new breed of West Coast barbers costs more per year than a course at Harvard.
We don't all I do is bring up the blood right up to the surface, you know? Okay,
well, I'm in here for assault with a deadly weapon and rape. Huh?
How many years for?
I've been locked up 4 years. They gave me 9 years, but I've been locked up 4. And they were like gang related.
What's the difference between being a gang member outside on the streets and a gang member in prison?
There's really no difference, really. You still, when you're out there, you represent your gang, and you're here, you represent your gang. There ain't no difference. But then you gotta learn how to live among other gangs in here.
All right, first off,
Everyone is pleased about how Michael Juarez has spent his time inside. He's put on a lot of muscle, which makes the gang happy, and he's studying for college, which pleases the authorities. He hopes to qualify in law. Meanwhile, he and the other gang leaders are the unofficial legislators who set the unwritten rules controlling all Chicano youngsters in the center.
I don't disrespect another gang member or disrespect his gang unless I'm expecting to have a fight. All right? You don't, whatever happens, you see something happens, you maybe might witness something, an incident, you don't say nothing. You don't talk, you don't snitch, you don't go and tell nobody. And you don't, if you're like my Mexican, Chicano, you don't associate with blacks. Don't associate with that's another race. You don't get in good with counselors, the police that work here. You don't get in good with them. Those are basically the don'ts.
What sort of unofficially happens if they snitch?
Well, among us, if there's a snitch, then we take care of him. When basically what happens, he will come across great bodily harm. Maybe in your room, maybe in a blind spot, straight line. This guy would know, if anybody who would snitch would know they're in trouble, and basically they would try to stay around where staff's at. So if it had to be, he had to be taken care of in front of staff.
We had a gang situation go on between two rival communities, one being Long Beach, better known as Longo, the other one known as Hawaiian Gardens. Reportedly, during the early part of the week, somebody from Longo had killed a Hawaiian Gardens gang member. So the existing gang members that we had here in the institution took it upon themselves to retaliate. So they grabbed the first young man that happened to be from Long Beach, or Longo, and proceeded to choke him with a clothes hanger, metal clothes hanger, right in one of our living units. While the act was being committed, one of our staff members tried to stop it, and two other young men that were assisting the one with the clothes hanger proceeded to throw chairs at him and preventing him from coming into and offering assistance.
On the streets, black gangs fight blacks and Chicanos fight Chicanos. But prison brings about a racial solidarity.
How do you get on with Chicano gangs in the prison?
Well, in here, they kind of like, they keep to themselves, you know, because, you know, like they eat together and they stick together. They stick together, I think, more than brothers stick together, but we should be like them, you know.
Like most all the Crips stick together. Say like for race riots, example, between the blacks and Chicanos. The Chicanos will team up with the white guys, and when the white guys would stay with the Chicano guys. You know, they just all turn on against the blacks. You know, so the blacks have to fight two gangs at once, you know.
Everyone that comes to jail that is black, they might have never associated with gangs out in the streets, and all of a sudden, they're Crips. That's their main big gang, Crips. And they allow anybody into their gangs, whether they're snitches, whether they're weak, whether they're pressure cases, get stuff taken from them. They accept them, and that's a threat to them, but they don't realize that because I don't know why, but it's a threat to me, and it's a threat to the Mexicans, because in jail, a lot of Mexicans are basically, they're labeled for doing all the underhanded things. You know what I mean? They're basically labeled for the master, not to make us look good, but they're always having something going up their sleeves. That's what they think. And we get away with a lot of it because we trust each other, you know what I mean? And you can't trust outside ethnic groups, and blacks, we don't trust them at all. That's probably the biggest rival here, Mexicans and blacks.
The training school can claim some modest success. Out of every 10 gang members, 4 will not reoffend, or at least not be caught reoffending. But 6 will return to prison, to Soledad or San Quentin, within 2 years of leaving Chino. Tyrone King, they call him Treetop, spent 5 years in jail for gang crimes. An ex-Piru gang member, he went straight and became a youth gang counsellor on the county payroll. His job is to set a moral example to youth and show there is a life beyond the wanton violence of the gang.
My job, the bottom line, is to prevent gang killings. And the way I do that, say if I hear about some Bloods getting ready to ride on some Crips, or some Crips getting ready to ride on some Bloods, I go to where it's supposed to have been going down at or about to go down at, and I talk to the individuals and see if I can talk to the two main boppers. And, you know, when I say boppers, I'm talking about the two main players that, you know, supposed to be getting off on each other. And I try to compromise, you know, besides, you know, hey, if you want to box head up, hey, take off your shoes and socks, roll your pants leg up, I'll lock you in the bathroom. See who's tough. You know, all this, you know, pulling guns on one another, no.
Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? Have you ever been to 12 funerals in one summer? Have you ever talked to a kid on Monday, picked up his body Tuesday morning? Yeah, that's why you do it.
Unemployed, as in Liverpool, the idea of a career, a future, a job seems remote to many of the young men on the street.
Job? It's not very easy to get jobs in the neighborhood, especially like all these factories around here. They don't hire none of us. They always hire wetbacks, outsiders, and everybody else besides us. You know what I mean? And that's one of the problems.
We know how to work. We just need the opportunity to work. You know, we need the chance. You know, we need the break for them to give us the job, but we can do it. You know, every one of us here know how to work. We just need the opportunity and the chance to do it.
Why do you think you have to resort to various crimes like drug dealing, burglaries, and small crime? Why is it you have to do that?
To survive.
To survive.
Cruising on Whittier Boulevard on a Sunday night used to be the big social event of the week for most young Chicanos, who want nothing more than to show off their reconditioned cars, themselves, and their girlfriends to each other. Until a few months ago, it still was a harmless weekend diversion. But as the vendettas spiral, violence and stabbings have become routine. On the boulevard, as in the city, the police can only try to contain the problem and move it somewhere else.
Well, the strategy is to jam up the traffic so nobody can move, nobody can cruise. Issue citations for all those law violators. Let them sit for about an hour and then open up some main streets and let them get out on the freeway and go home.
Girl, sir, I go the other way.
And this way, it inhibits them to do their gang activity. It stops a lot of the stabbings and the shootings and the fights that go on the boulevard.
Keep moving, you guys walk this way, turn around, head back the other way.
Heading the wrong way. Turn it around, walk back.
So what hope has the Olympic City of turning back the tide of gangland crime?
I think it's well enrooted. It's spreading all over LA County, but we've made impact, had some very positive impacts that have been made, and I think we'll continue to make them. The more we learn about street gangs, I think the better we're going to be able to make an impact through law enforcement and criminal justice system.
But what about the future for the 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds that are coming up now?
Mostly, we have programs now that are involved within the school systems. We are trying to, educate the kids, educate the parents regarding gang activity. But it's a difficult problem. It's not one that's going to go away within a year or so.
For the moment, though, if anything, it may get worse. New groups now rival the communities of the Chicanos and the blacks, the Asians. In the last few years, new immigrants have arrived from Korea, Taiwan and Vietnam, and conforming with the local culture they discovered, they too have formed gangs.
One crash 51 to any other crash unit.
How long will it be before the Flying Dragons gang, the Korean killers, the frogmen drawn from Vietnamese combat troops, begin to assert themselves against their rivals? The police believe the process has already begun.
How long have you been in the U.S.? How long have you been in the U.S.? 4 years. 4 years? Where'd you come from? No, where'd you come from? Vietnam. I know. What city? Saigon. Saigon.
Official efforts to stem the growth of the gangs may seem hopeless. Some senior officers privately admit it's out of control. But the law does catch up with some. Since this film was made, Turtle of the Santana Block gang has been arrested and is now in jail for drug peddling.
One little thing.
The police also arrested Pat Ramirez, whose boyfriend Johnny was murdered, on drugs charges. Unfortunately, gang councillor Tyrone King, or Treetop, is now in prison too, charged with 13 counts of armed robbery committed while he was being paid by the county to set a good example to the young.
Possible gang activity at 2132 Marathon Street. Suspects are possibly 20 males, blacks, white, and Latinos.